One thing I remember too about Nehi and my dad is my dad had bought a 550-acre farm on the Yadkin River from the Aluminum Company of America, which is now Alcoa, from the real estate department. And Nehi and I would go down there with Daddy and his Chesapeake Bay Retriever, Duchess. And my dad had 3 tenant farmers down there living on the farm: Ode, Mike, and Dick Basinger. All 3 were in World War II and came back pretty scarred up for it, I think. Ode was a bombardier and gave me his Army stuff. Dick died young. They all would drink quite a bit on the weekends. They were great workers during the week, but on the weekend they drank pretty heavily. And Dick died either of a broken neck or drowned in some water from a downspout. He fell off a porch there on one of the farmhouses and either broke his neck or drowned. We don't know. Ode was married to a lady called Mabel. She lived down there. One time my dad and I, Sunday afternoon after church, it was raining cats and dogs, and we went down to the farm, and we were heading down the road in his 58 Pontiac, and Duchess and I were sitting in the front bucket seat, and all of a sudden my dad slammed on brakes, and Ode had passed out in the rain in the dirt road with one of my dad's hunting dogs licking his face, one of the hunting dogs that stayed down at the farm. There was another person that helped farm the land down there, Lee Buck Poole. Lee Buck was a big, heavy-set fella. My dad would send me out riding on the tractor with Lee Buck when he was tilling the soil. Daddy had a McCullough tractor, and Alice Chalmers, had an Alice Chalmers tractor, and I would sit out with Lee Buck going all over the fields. And in the fall, Lee Buck had on his old bib overalls with tears in the legs so you could see his thighs, and he had hula girls tattooed on his thighs and a hula girl tattooed on his chest. And my biggest, Lee Buck was married and had a couple of children, and they lived in a dirt floor shanty like, and Lee Buck had been to prison for stealing some old scrap iron, but they caught him and he went to prison and then worked some for Daddy on the farm after that. But one day I remember they all got paid, and Daddy sent me with them up to the Files General Store. We took Dad's 2-ton GMC flatbed truck up there. And I'll never forget, the other guys bet Lee Buck that he couldn't eat 2 12-packs of hot dogs with the buns and 2 6-packs of Pepsi Colas. And they gave me a couple of slices of cheddar cheese, that great kind of cheese you could get a pound at a time at the old general store, and some crackers. And I've never tasted cheese and crackers that tasted so good. But anyway, I sat there Indian style with my hands up to my cheeks, eating my cheese crackers, watching Lee Buck devour 24 hot dogs with the buns and drinking 12 Pepsi Colas. That stuck in my mind. Going back, I remember sitting beside Lee Buck and the other guys in the front seat and looking down and seeing the pedals. I couldn't see over the dashboard, but I'd never seen a clutch pedal. I saw the gas pedal and the brake pedal, and then there was another pedal Lee Buck kept hitting and changing the gears, and the pedals were round, not square. I remember that. So that's how I learned about a straight drive. But I'll never forget sitting there watching Lee Buck finish off all those hot dogs and Pepsi Colas.